And Trump's getting frustrated.
It has not been explained to me perfectly by the Secret Service or the FBI. We have somebody, two good people running that, and I would like to hear the explanation.
Yeah.
Even if it's not released to the public, I should be allowed to hear it.
Amen.
And I might very well release it to the public.
Now, another assassination plot against Donald Trump was foiled in Wisconsin. And just like Ruth, there's a Ukraine connection. In February, the Wisconsin Sheriff's Office arrested 17-year-old Nikita Casap for killing his parents and uncovered a plot to kill the president. This kid, who was also part of a satanic neo-Nazi group, allegedly killed his parents for cash so he could fund an assassination attempt on Trump. Authorities went through his phone and found messages in Russian with an anonymous source. He was trying to buy a military drone to take out 47. Quote, a drone with a dropping mechanism. The drone would drop a bomb, so I would need that once the transfer is complete. He was also texting a Ukrainian phone number and planning an escape route to Ukraine. Quote, how long will I need to hide before I move to Ukraine? 1 to 2 months. So while in Ukraine, I'll be able to get a normal job and have a normal life, even if when it's found out I did it? Who is this kid? And why does he have an international network of arms dealers and human smugglers at his fingertips? Why is he texting Ukrainians and trying to overthrow our government? And what is it with Ukraine and all these unhinged assassins with multiple phones and revolution on their minds? Former CIA analyst Buck Sexton's the co-host of the Clay and Travis and Buck Sexton show, and he is here. Why does this Ukraine connection, Buck, keep popping up?
Well, one reason, I think, Jesse, is that you have this narrative that if we don't continue the war in Ukraine and if we don't defeat Russia, the entire world falls apart. So in the same way that this attracts people who are can be a bit deranged, same thing you see with climate change as an existential threat, this becomes an issue that can justify absolutely anything. Whatever you want to do, as long as it is meant to perpetuate the war in Ukraine against Russia, can be inherently justified, to include political violence, right? That's why we've seen this now a number of times. It's not one time, a number of times, where people who have been plotting violence, and in one case got very close to actual violence against Donald Trump, like assassinated, had some Ukraine tie in their ideology. And I think it all just goes back to the media, whether they're talking about Trump as a totalitarian, or saying he's a Russian stooge, or saying that somehow he's going to sell out Ukraine and then all of the Western world is going to fall under Russian boots and Russian tanks. This is insane. And a lot of people, I think, just view it as rhetoric that's meant to politically hobble this administration. But there are wackos out there. Trump is under greater threat than any president in our lifetime. That's an obvious statement of fact. He was shot through the ear during the campaign. As we remember, even the media, I think, wants to forget it very much. But Jesse, he continues to be the president under the greatest threat because he's consequential, because he challenges the system, and because there are people out there who think that if they don't stop him, the world is going to end. It's crazy, but that's what they believe.
Do you believe Trump's under more threat now than he was in the summer before he was elected?
Well, that's really tough to say because the two assassination attempts against him, one was just by the grace of God, we still have Donald Trump, obviously after what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, and then the attempt not far from where I am in West Palm Beach on the golf course, that got very close to also being able to get rounds fired at the president from the assassin's gun. So Jesse, it's tough to be worse than that, but I will say this, the mystique of the Secret Service has been shattered. And a lot of wackos out there. And it's not just about Trump. It also applies to what we saw here with the governor of Pennsylvania, Governor Shapiro. You know, thoughts and prayers go to him, his family, what they just went through. People who now want to both gain some degree of global notoriety and change the course of history think that it is easier than it has been in a long time because of the security lapses. We worry about copycats sometimes when it comes to murderers. In this case, you have copycats when it comes to would-be assassins. They think I might do it better.